Hi guys, so I was just watching a video on Big Think on YouTube, which is a fantastic, I guess YouTube channel, filled with all these really brilliant people who come together and talk about amazing things. And if you don't already subscribe to them, you definitely should. But anyway, so I was watching Big Think and Bill Nye the Science Guy was on there, and he was talking about the city of the future. And about like roads and the possibility of creating like a sort of a world that relies on bikes and their ability to get from place to place instead of these gigantic highways with um, really expensive things like the roads but all the things that sort of go into that. And that wasn't really the interesting part, but he was talking about all this, and it was really interesting to me just because I mean, we live in this world right now, and right now it seems sort of static, and for centuries, people have sort of thought, my world right now is static. But within recent times, within the past 100 years or so, people have been discovering just these absolutely amazing things about the universe and the way it works, and it's really changed our idea and our concept of everything. It's not static. It's not. It doesn't stay the same, really. I mean, in ways it does, but our understanding of it definitely changes, and our culture changes, and our society changes, and technology changes, and that all has a gigantic effect on um, who we are, but also how we run things. Um, And so yeah, so we're sort of like stuck in this age, and we're looking at what we have right now. And we're looking at the way the government is run, and we're looking at how roads are built, and we just think that it's gonna be sort of like this for forever, or like a version of this. Maybe people will have chips put in their brain where they can log into the internet right away and see it right in front of their eyes, but other than that, things will essentially be the same in how they're ran or run. Um, and I don't think that's true, and hopefully most people think that it's not true. Also, um, I think within the next 100 years, we're going to see major changes, and I think a part of making um, that that future making sure that it approaches us, or that we achieve that future, and in a faster pace. A part of doing that is knowing that what we understand right now might not be the best explanation of the way things work, or the way that things should be controlled, or the way that things should be done. Um, there's that question of who would build the roads, if we didn't have the government. And I'm not really going to the argument as to who would build the roads, but I think the point of that is that there is certainly other methods, other ways to doing things. And I don't think it's a good idea to ever get stuck in the mindset of, well, it's always been that way. Or what would you replace it with? Like sometimes you try to have a discussion about a policy or a law, or something that is problematic, and you have this big discussion about it and why it's problematic, and then at the end, you get to the end of the conversation, you get the end of what you were talking about, and all these explanations of why what you're talking about is wrong, and the person that you're talking to, it looks at you with just this like smirk, and they ask you, well, what would you replace it with? And it's like, I mean, how do you even like respond to that? I don't know. You know? So, I mean, I don't know how much sense this whole video makes to any of you, but I just think you have to realize that there are other possibilities out there. I think of Galileo, I think of Copernicus, I think of Darwin, these brilliant men, and they had these wonderful ideas, and they learned things and discovered things, and they tried to tell the world, and the world was like, no, you're wrong. And, you know, they could have been wrong. They really could have been wrong, but they weren't. They were right. And as someone had just said, you know what? Let me look into it. Let me get a telescope. Let me get a microscope. Let me go to the Galapagos and check out these crazy little birds called boobies over there. You know, like, what are you talking about? Let me learn. Let me discover. Let me do it with you. If someone had said that, if society as a whole had said that back then, you know, just imagine where we would be today. We would be doing amazing things. So, you know, like, sure, you know, like the other day I was reading about Vera Rubin. She was this amazing woman from, I think she was in her prime, her scientific prime back in the 60s or the 70s. And she was going to college, and she was a woman, and she discovered, well, she theorized the possibility of dark matter and dark energy, essentially, because she was looking through her telescope and she was seeing things. She was seeing, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something about the rotation of the universe, of the stars, of the planets, and that everything was rotating so fast that in theory they should be breaking apart. So because of that, in theory, something should be holding them together, and so she theorized the possibility of dark matter, dark energy. And this concept is such an amazing concept, and it's essentially what modern physics is built off of. So yeah, so absolutely amazing. And it was this woman who discovered it. And of course, this goes into sexism and sexism and science and everything like that too. But you know, back in the '60s, they didn't want to hear it from her. And they didn't believe her, and they just sort of they brushed it aside. But I mean, now we know that she was right, or we discovered that, there's a significant amount of evidence that proves that she's most likely right. And if we just believed in her decades ago, where would we be now? So yeah, that's what I'm gonna end this video on. Yeah, just constantly question things. I'm not saying it's wrong to disbelieve something, or to not believe in something. Um, but don't just stop with saying that's so outlandish. There's no way that could actually be the case, and stop yourself from researching and developing new ideas, new ideas to replace whatever it is that you think is outlandish or wrong. You know, it's important to do research and to not really, you know, don't be lazy in your discussions with people. You know, so. Anyway, that's all I had to say. Like I said, go subscribe to BigThink.com or BigThink at YouTube right now. It's really such a great thing. There's videos by Michio Kaku and Neil deGrasse Tyson. Who else? There's this great interview by Stephen Fry that I've watched the entire thing and I'm in love with him. So yeah, go do that, and I guess I'm done with this video. Hopefully the audio recorded all the way because it didn't happen in my last video. I'm still going to try to redo that video as soon as possible, but I don't know. Who knows? Bye, you guys. I'll see you later.